Hello, 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 everybody. I am back in the United States and I had a surprise today because my webcam is not working, but that's okay. My Mac has a backup camera, so we're using this camera today. So I still may find myself looking up because that's where I'm normally looking into my webcam, but that is okay. We will make it work. So I am standing up, so I get to move around a little bit because that sitting down thing and trying to find the right camera just was not going to work with me. So as you're hopping on, do drop a number one in the comments and let me know if you can hear me. And I am going to find my comments. I'll be looking a little bit all over everywhere today, but that is absolutely fine. If this is your first time with me, and I'm still trying to find my cameras, that's okay. If this is your first time with me, I am Dr. Twanna Carter, and as a career coach, I help busy women executives who are struggling with self criticism and doubt and anxiety overcome all of that so that they can finally do away with all that and then live the life that they were meant to live, be comfortable in their own skins so they can actually enjoy those careers in life that they've worked to build, right? So if you are here today, then you probably know I got a good one for you today. And let me do offer my apologies for last week flying out of Costa Rica. We got delayed, and well, I was in the air at the time. I was supposed to have been doing this live last week, so I missed it. That's where I was. If you popped on Wednesday looking for me, apologies for that. But I am back this week, right? Trying to get used to all the rain. And it's like I missed the whole season. I left, it was hot. In Costa Rica, it was hot. And then I got back and it's like cold and rainy. Yeah, that part. So I will have more to come on my decision to become a digital nomad for about a month in Costa Rica to see how I liked it. And by the way, I loved it. So, but we're here tonight talking about the 10 unmistakable signs of high functioning anxiety you have, but may not realize that you actually have. Okay. So, how many people here have heard of high functioning anxiety? Drop a yes in the comments if you've actually heard of high functioning anxiety. And let me go ahead and pull up a couple of other browsers here so that I can look out and see. Sometimes there is, not sometimes, there's typically a lag time in between when I see people answer and when they're actually answering. So I just want to, there we go. There's a feed there. Yep, I was going to say, why is that black? But holy cow, there we go. There you can see me there. So I know Facebook. In my group, Courage to Transition Your Career, it is a group for women. You are free to join. It's an absolutely free group. I know that you are live and can see me. I'm going to pop over here to LinkedIn to be sure that it is coming through live on LinkedIn. And sometimes the internet is a tad bit slow when you are on programs like this and they're drawing the data. Yep, there you go. Welcome to LinkedIn and welcome to YouTube and welcome to Twitter. I appreciate you guys for being here tonight. And as well, those of you who catch this on the replay, do drop replay in the comments and thank you for being here. I am much appreciative of that. So, again, we're talking about the 10 unmistakable signs of high functioning anxiety that you have, but you don't realize, right? And so maybe you've got a new promotion, a new position, and this is something you dreamed about, you worked on for so long, but now you're feeling like kind of like something's a little off, but you really can't put your finger on it. Maybe you're constantly busy, but never seem like you're getting enough done, enough work done, and enough tasks done, seeing the people that you need to see. Or, you're like busy, 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 but you got this feeling that you're always behind on everything. You're always behind, right? So it might be high functioning anxiety. And so, what we're going to do is this list of 10 telltale signs could really help you realize if you actually have been hijacked by anxiety because you were all excited about this new position, this new job, or whatever it is. and then anxiety kicked in and it's really got you going. So number one, we're going to dive right in. You procrastinate, right? Procrastination is a huge symbol. It's a common trait rather of anxiety. It's also one that doesn't have to be a part of your life. And there are really some simple steps that you can do to stop procrastinating. But first, you got to understand what it is and why you do it, right? So, procrastination really can take a lot of forms, but most commonly they include, like you're excited about the task and then you look at it and you go, oh, I don't necessarily want to do that. This kind of makes me anxious. And so you start avoiding the things that you need to do, like rescheduling those meetings or putting them off or finding reasons not to do the smaller tasks that lead up to the bigger tasks, right? Then you start distracting yourself by putting things off to later, and you put off important things and put off decisions you keep delaying to delay and delay, and then you end up not finishing projects, or because you procrastinate, and we'll talk about this a little bit less, you jump into high gear at the last minute to try to get everything done, right? And then it requires a lot of focus and a lot of attention, a lot of work, because you've let things slide for so long, right? So I'm going to look over here, and anybody else out there besides me, yeah, you get caught up with procrastination. It's a big thing. This is one I still struggle with. I'm going to admit that wholly. I still struggle with procrastination. So I have my little list and I break things down and try to break it down to smaller tasks because it really can derail a task. Now some folks will tell you I do it enough. I'm always doing it. I always get things done. And you can get things done because you get that extra rush of adrenaline, but often you don't do things as well as you could, and that's going to go down to number two and number three. Number two is you find it difficult to let go of mistakes. Like, I could have done that better. I could, if I hadn't procrastinated, I would have. If I had, right, you find it very, very difficult to let go of mistakes, right? And you may be very, very hard on yourself, and sometimes you can actually get stuck in this pattern and become overly critical of yourself, hypercritical. I talked about the fact that I help busy women with self-criticism, and this is part of it. It's hard sometimes to let go of a mistake, right? And so you might wonder this, you might think that this one mistake, everybody else is going to see it. They're not going to think I'm a great leader, or maybe I shouldn't have gotten this job, and I don't know what they were thinking when they gave me this job. And it kind of snowballs into other things, right? Now, and also I told you that procrastination rolls into number three. Number three, you're a perfectionist. Yeah, this one I used to drive. I drove my kids up a wall with this one. I'm being honest here. Drove my kids up a wall with this one for a minute, and I actually drove my soldiers up. I used to be an officer in the army. I drove my soldiers up a wall too, right? Perfectionism is a common trait for those of us with high functioning anxiety. And when you are a perfectionist, you feel like you need to get every single thing perfect, just perfect. It's just, I got to do it all. It has to be perfect. There can't be a mistake. And if I just hold on to a little bit longer, I can just correct it. I can make it better, 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 better. And then anxiety starts to get you and you start to avoid, but then you like to make it better, better, better. And so then you push yourself like back and forth, right? And then here's the thing. People from the outside looking in, it's like, oh yeah, she's a perfectionist. It's a great job. But it just makes you work harder for improvement. And there are negative consequences of perfectionism. Awfulizing. It was awful. And people around you are going like, yes, great job. You. It was awful. If I had a little bit of time, I could have corrected this. If I had a little bit more time, I could have done this. If I had a little bit more time, and so it goes, right? And then it also leads you down to a healthy path, an unhealthy path of just criticizing yourself. No matter what you do, how well you do it, you can't get over criticizing yourself, right? And then that leads to you feeling like a failure, right? So I'm still trying to find my cameras. So work with me here because I keep looking up for my camera and it's right there. It's right there. All right. But you do start to feel like a failure no matter how hard you work, how busy you work, how long you work. You just start to feel like a failure in everything. Right. And then number four, it's just beyond measure. It is very important for you to be successful. It is very important. Okay. You feel like it's life is not lived. I haven't done my job if I'm not successful. I can't take a step back. I got to be on it all the time because I have to be successful. And you kind of, you're orchestrating things and trying to control things all the time. And this actually leads down to another one we'll talk about in a few moments, right? And then number five, your life is often out of balance, right? If you're suffering from high functioning anxiety, it's out of balance because we have a work life, we have a family life, we have friends, and their self care and their hobbies and all of that. But when you have high functioning anxiety, it's out of balance because you tend to put more energy in one than the others. Oftentimes, for the clients that I see, it's they've put work ahead of everything else. And because anxiety consumes so much energy, everything is going into work, which kicks everything else into it's just off balance, right? No self care, and we'll talk about why self care is important in a few moments. But yeah, things are not in balance, and it's not gonna, our lives are not gonna be like perfectly in balance. But you certainly don't want it so lopsided that work gets this much time, and then family and friends and self care get this much, and normally self care does this like none at all, right? So that's number five. Number six, you have trouble saying no. That two-letter word just gets you into trouble because you keep saying no. You tend to be a people pleaser, and it is in your mindset that if I say yes and I do it, they will understand I'm good at what I do and I'm worthy and I have value, right? I don't want to disappoint people. And you just feel guilty. If you tell somebody no, you feel guilty. So you say yes, yes, yes. Even when your plate is full, even when all your time is accounted for, you continue to say yes. And then when you get so much on that plate, now you avoid because you know it's too much to do. And so you try to avoid, right? So Monica says 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. This was, oh my God, this was so mean. This was so mean. But yeah, you have problems saying no because you want to make everybody happy. You want people to believe that the right decision was made to give you that promotion. And so you keep taking on and taking on, taking on. And then the other thing that happens is people go, oh, she's reliable. Oh, she's dependable. Everything that she gives you, you give her, it's done. And then you start going, yeah, that's right, I can. But then they start piling on more and they pile on more and they pile on more and they pile on more. And then you avoid, 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 and procrastinate because you can't get to it all. And then sometimes you think you can get to it all. You can't because you're so tired. And here it comes number seven. You're constantly busy but not productive. And sometimes you have so much on your plate, you try to do the quick wins and then you procrastinate on everything else, which makes you constantly busy but never productive. So busyness is not the same thing as being productive. They're two different things. You can be busy and get stuff. How many people have done this? You're going to work with such high hopes. You have your list. Here's what I'm going to get done today. And then about 2, 3, 4 o'clock, you go, where did the time go? Because I got nothing done. And you're like, I've been busy and going all day long at work, but I got nothing done. Busyness is not the same as productivity. And oftentimes, when you have high functioning anxiety, there is there's five different ways we experience anxiety. There's fight, which most of us know. There's you know stand and fight or flight, the runaway and avoid. There's freeze, the deer caught in headlights. But there's also, well, there's faint. Most of us don't faint, but some people do. And then there's that last one called fawn. That's when we have all this energy and we're trying to people please and get everything done, right? So you're constantly busy, but sometimes you're busy on everybody else's stuff. You don't get the stuff that's prioritized that you need to do first, right? And of course, this causes you to procrastinate. And so it feels like you're on a vicious hamster wheel going round and around and around and around. Okay. And then number eight, which is folks have a lot of issues with, is overthinking, right? Overthinking pretty much delays you taking action and making decisions because you're too busy thinking about, well, if I do it like this and then if that could happen, but if I do that, that can happen and that can happen, and that, and then you get lost. You All you're doing is thinking, right? They call it analysis paralysis. You're thinking about what can happen. You analyze each situation and you're analyzing like 50 situations and you get stuck and you don't take action. And when you do take action, your time is gone or you're reacting to get something done because you feel like you've lost all of your time. overthinking, right? And so when we overthink, we don't make good decisions. Why? When your anxiety kicks in, you go into survival brain. And survival brain is just what it sounds like. Are you living? Are you breathing? That's really what our survival's brain is about. Live and breathe. That's it. Be safe, live and breathe. It's not about accomplishing anything. It's not about being happy. It's not being, enjoying yourself. It's, are we living, breathing, eating? Are we safe? That's all your survival brain does. And so as human beings, we can't make the best decisions in life when we're in survival brain. You really have to leave survival brain and go into your smart brain. That's your neocortex. They call it the big brain, right? But that's why it seems like when you overthink, you're having it like, I can't make decisions. I don't know what's wrong. All the facts are here, but I can't seem to put them together, because when you survive in survival brain, you're not going to make the best decisions. Not for your life, not for a project, not for your company, not for your organization, your department, whatever it is you're leading. You gotta be out of survival brain and using that smart brain to make the decisions that are best for you, right? That neocortex. Okay. And number nine, I talked about, I refer to this. It's you're very time conscious. Like, you need to count for almost every second of the day, every single thing. Why? Because you're in survival brain. You're trying to control everything around you. Like, you worry about, you can't, like, if you're a minute late, or if you're like 30 seconds later, you 2 minutes before meeting, you feel like, oh my God, what's wrong? I can't get this. So no, you tend to show up a little earlier because you want to control the situation. You're trying to control everything. The problem is that you end up not only controlling all your stuff, but you will end up controlling your subordinates' stuff too, trying to. And it's not that you want to micromanage, but you want to exercise control, because inside, that anxiety has you feeling out of control, right? And then all of these will coalesce to number 10. You will have problems. If you have problems sleeping, right? Yeah, if you have problems sleeping, and then lack of sleep can lead to irritability and difficult concentrating, right? Sometimes with anxiety, it's hard to tell which came first, the chicken or the egg. Did I have sleeping problems and lack of sleep is causing the anxiety, or did I have anxiety already and now I can't sleep because of the anxiety? It's like a hamster wheel. You keep going around and around and around and around, right? But you feel like you owe it to folks. You got this promotion, you're in this position, you're running things, so you feel like you have to, everybody thinks you have everything together, so you don't feel like you can ask for help, right? And that's where anxiety coaching comes in, right? Because I help you create the habits that improve your mental fitness, so that moving forward, you can increase your time in peak performance without all anxiety, right? And you can also, not only are you going to, improve your performance, but also your well-being, because that's just as important as performing at the job. Your peace of mind and your well-being are just as important. As well, it helps you to spend more time out of survival brain, out of survival mode, and then your relationships, you enjoy them a lot better, right? And so my goal in coaching is for you to understand that really anxiety is a protective thing. It's by nature, it's protecting you. We have anxiety to protect us. Your brain just thinks that you're in danger, is trying to protect you. So I help you to understand that and the whole mechanism, how that works, because once you actually understand that, it allows you to ease out of all that energy consuming anxiety, so that you can repurpose that energy, right? And typically what happens when I go over and I show people how to use different techniques in session, oftentimes they start yawning. It's like, I don't know what happened, why I'm so sleepy. It's like, I do. You've been in survival brain for so long, consuming all of that energy. As soon as you come out of survival brain and you're just back in neocortex, the smart brain, and you're calm, your body's like, oh, thank God, we need to go to bed and get some sleep right now. And so I've had people to like, I'm about to fall asleep on you, because it feels so good to relieve that anxiety and just be calm, right? But the problem can be with folks with high functioning anxiety is you feel guilty when you're calm and you're relaxing, so you go and find something else to do to try to bring it back up. That's when you know that you spent some time in the position that you're in, and you're so worried about or so concerned about doing a great job that you know it's time to get help. When you try to relax but you feel guilty and you try to go back into survival brain and be anxious, that really says it's time. It is time, right? It is definitely time for you to get some help to repurpose that energy back into enjoying your life, back into enjoying your family, back into your hobbies, or even back into self care, right? So if you see yourself in this list, drop a two, drop a two in the comments for me. Even if you catch this on a replay, I always come back and look at all the comments and everything that you all make, and I appreciate your comments, right? So if you see yourself in this list, then it's time for you to move out of survive mode, and into thrive mode so you can start to enjoy your life again. You don't have to feel like you're always busy, busy, busy on the hamster wheel and never catching up, feeling like you're is one of the people that I saw told me, and she's like, it's like your life, your life is a train and it's going on down the track, but you're running behind it trying to catch up. And I was like, exactly. And that's what exactly what high functioning anxiety feels like. The train is constantly moving, but you can't catch it, or it feels like you can't catch it, right? So yeah, I want to show you how to be to relax without feeling guilty, how to go to sleep, right? Without needing those 2, 3, 4, 5 glasses of wine at nighttime, and really how to feel excited about taking a vacation from work rather than feeling like you always got to be on. I have to be there because I'm the responsible person. I'm in charge and I'm running things, right? But let me say this, that if you have anxiety and your anxiety has led you down the road to substance abuse, you don't need coaching. Okay. Coaching really centers on where you are currently and how to get you moving forward in the future without the anxiety so you can really relax, enjoy, perform well at your job, and leave the anxiety behind as you enjoy your family and friends. But if you are in the mode where you're abusing substances, you have a problem, be it with drugs, legal prescriptions, alcohol, then you actually need a medical profession, right? A licensed medical profession. That's going to be your doctor, nurse, a therapist, a social worker, counselor, psychologist, nurse practitioner. They all have licenses to deal with that. Coaching does not actually perform that. So when I see folks, and if you're here, I'm going to say yes, see a doctor, to see a licensed medical profession to do that piece of it. I can do the anxiety coaching, but that piece of it where you're having some issues with substance abuse, it's not a coaching issue. Okay, just want to put that out there. And some of you actually know I am a licensed therapist as well, and so I never coach the same clients that I counsel, because it's just a mixing of the hats, and I need them to be separate, right? And so do let me know if this live has really helped you to understand the trace of high function anxiety that you may have. Okay. And it's also important to know that there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You've heard me mention this is mine. Every once in a while, it pokes its head up. It pokes its little head up, and I have to do my little things and my activities and my tools and everything to push it back down. So it's nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about. Some of us just get really excited about our work, and we get that promotion, we work so hard for, and we just kind of get stuck in high functioning anxiety. And I help you get unstuck, right? That's what I do as a coach, right? And so I am a career coach who does a great amount of anxiety coaching. So I want you to know that there is help. And you can actually set up a call with me by going to my Linktree page. I'm going to pop that down here. And for those of you on LinkedIn, I'll go to the LinkedIn page and drop that in, because I believe this will only post to, if I'm correct, YouTube. For whatever reason, it doesn't post to LinkedIn, but I'll get that later, right? And so I'll see you back next week at this same time, because I will be talking about how to manage those difficult employees. We always talk about coworkers, right? So we're talking about, got some information for the managers out there, because it's tough. Oftentimes, when you step into a new role, especially for those of you that are new leaders or new managers, or you transition to another company, you can have some really difficult employees who make that difficult. So, I'm going to talk about some tips for you to use and to handle that. So, thank you for being here, and I will see you back next week at this same time. Take care. Bye bye.